Howdy folks, today let's talk about the Tigerism Zebras. This is a 12 balanced armature set. They have a similar shell to the Tigerism Dragonfly, so that's to say that it's steel. It's about 13 grams, so it's very weighty. Reasonable fit. It's not, I wouldn't say special, not super contoured, but they work okay. They will stay in your ears. Before I go any further, they did come with the similar to Effect Audio Liquid Links Venom cable. I think I got that right, but they're branded Tigerism. It's a very thick cable. It's got a different different 2 pins, different 4.4, and different chin slider than the Liquid Links, but it is similarly thick. I think maybe a little bit slightly less of the little gold speckles in the cable, but it's a very nice cable. And if you look up this cable from Effect Audio on wherever, it's going to be like $1,000. So, haha, cables. But very nice to have this included with about an $850 set. Also, you can get this with the Tigerism Rabbit, I believe. I could be wrong. That's the 10.2 millimeter dynamic driver, which is about $250. So, I don't know. If you want a cable that's very similar to that, and you don't want to spend $1,000, then maybe this is on your menu. Anyway, nice cable. So these have 12 balanced armatures. They have 2 Sonyans for lows for the subs, 2 Sonyans for the mid bass, 4 nulls for mids and high mids, and then 4 nulls for ultra treble. The series don't particularly matter, but they're all branded drivers. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, the fit it's not super contoured, but it's utilitarian and fine. And just to show you, these are the Softers Ultra Clear tips. They do stick on there pretty well. They're not going to come off easily. So, if you got some tips that are sticky silicone, that should work pretty well for these. So, after listening to these for about 2-3 weeks, I should have done a review way back a couple weeks ago, but I caught, I don't know if it's cedar fever or just a cold. So I'm in the American Southwest, and the junipers are blooming. This is a very early spring, so the juniper pollen has been floating around, and it could be a cold, but I was literally sneezing for the last 3 to 4 weeks straight. I'm just miserable out of my mind, and I'm still a little congested. So anyways, that's why these didn't come out with a review sooner, but I don't like them a hell of a lot. I like them okay. They work about, for 50% of my library. They're very forward in the mids. So let me pull up the graph so we can see what I'm talking about. Here's our graph. We can see that we have, let's see, let me get this out of the way. We can see that we have about 9, almost 10 decibels of ear gain that peaks starting about 2,000 hertz, 2K. Rides that out, we're still at about 10 decibels to about 3.5K, and then a rather steady slope down. When I first saw this graph, I was thinking, well, that's kind of interesting, this sort of treble, after the ear gain area. And I was theorizing that possibly these have a different arrangement rather than like ported with like the little tubes, the balanced armature tubes with the dampers in there. I was thinking maybe there's like an acoustic space in there or something, and I think indeed that's probably the case after checking these out, but that's interesting. But and then we have bass at about 9 decibels, something close to that. So really what we end up with is a very forward mid shelf on this. And so like my library, about half of it works well, and it depends kind of if I'm in the mood for sort of that very forward mids that are sort of right between my temples. For certain like vocal tracks and things, it's very intimate, very nice. For other things, it's less nice. It very much depends on the track mix and such, and also my mood. But strictly speaking, I'd really prefer this to not be 9 or 10 decibels at 2K, more like maybe 6 or maybe slightly lower, and then peak maybe at the 2.5 or 3K mark, just to mention. But anyways, so let's just move on with this. So I'm not going to give these a recommendation. They're not bad. They're not bad, but just not my style in general. But let's just go over a few more metrics. Let's see. So we can see that we have 14 ohm impedance here. We have, like I said, 12 balanced armatures, 4 Sonyans for the lows, 8 for the highs and mids. four-way crossover, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And I don't know what else to say. Okay, so sensitivity of 98 to 100 millivolts. In practice, these are more sensitive than, I don't know, for instance, the Tigerism Rabbit, which is a 32 ohm dynamic driver with rather low, it's not super low, but low sensitivity. So these are going to be more sensitive to, than that. And, you shouldn't have any problem really running any type of amplifier, phone, or whatever. They're fine. We'll just call it in terms of the source that you feed them. Yeah, so is there anything else? Not really. This is not the cable I got. I'm assuming that I did get the correct one, probably, hopefully, or that people would get in the stock box. I didn't get an unboxing, but I just got a case and the cable and the IEM to rate, and so we're rating them. So, yeah, graph, kind of nice, interesting, but not particularly my preferences. So let's flip back over to the video view. All right, and let's do something. So I'll do this side. I'm gonna look inside the nozzle here. Let's see, can we zoom in a little bit? Come on, focus. There, we are focused. All right, let's pull off this little grill here. Using a sewing needle. Yeah, okay. Just flip it to the side a little bit. Let's see if we can see in there. Okay. So what we see immediately, I doubt I can zoom in much more right now, but we don't have acoustic bore tubes. We have like a sound chamber in here. I can see two balanced armatures in the back, and then some type of interesting thing here. This could be an acoustic chamber for the lows. And then there's like a little pinhole thing here. I don't know. It's interesting. So, but not bore tubes with dampers in them. So we'll just stick this back. So not a whole lot I could do to this. I could try and put a damper on this, for instance. That might scoot the ear gain a little bit lower or higher in frequency. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Do we even have a lip on this? I think there's a lip. Yeah, there's a lip, so that we can put it grill on there. So that's a possibility. But let's open these up, which I already did. Hold on. There we go. All right, what do we see here? Let's see. Can I zoom in a little more, maybe? Yeah, maybe not. All right, that's about as good as we're gonna get. Okay, now it's like pretty much the first time I've seen this up close. So let's talk about some things here. Okay, I see a resistor-ish thing right here. Hang on, I gotta look at this on the microscope. Whoops. Well, okay, first off, we have some like silver cabling here. I don't know if it's pure silver. It could be. That's pretty nice. And we see a big, gigantic honking vented balanced armature. So that's going to be a Sanyan. Let's see if we could read that. Let's see. 3800? Yeah, 3800 series vented Sanyan. Cool. Vented. All right. Good deal. And I'm not sure how that gets into the sound nozzle, but there must be some type of acoustic thing in here under this goop. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and oh, this is a dual, so 10, 9, 10, and probably one of these are duals that I'm not counting. Can we see the brand? No, can't see the brand, but okay. So there's a four-way crossover. Now, I don't know about you, But I don't count a four-way crossover in here at all. What I actually see is this is the positive and negative pins on the 2-pin. Negative is usually forward, so that would be this one. And we got all this wires, but these go directly to balanced armatures. And then I see like a little resistor here. Oh, wait, is that a cap? There's a cap. Oh, okay, we got caps. Okay, and caps. It's an interesting way to do this. This is like point-to-point wiring rather than like a little circuit board with a crossover. So, I don't know. I'll probably have to work out what the heck is going on with this. But I think the takeaway is that if I wanted to retune these, it's going to have to be electrically probably rather than something going in the nozzle acoustically. And I don't think I'd be able to pull the balanced armatures out of this and do much with them because it's all glued very, very much. Alright, pretty interesting though. I don't think I've ever seen a point-to-point wired crossover, or at least not that I can remember, but okay. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I'll do a little bit of stuff to this and see if I can work out how to maybe decrease the ear gain about 2,000 hertz. That would be nice. Try and pull something out of this that I really like. Something else in my mind. Well, actually, since that's vented, I could theoretically block this little balanced armature vent and get some slightly different response in the lows. The lows are pretty nice on this, though, overall, so it wouldn't be my go-to thing. I'd probably need to work out which ones of these are the mid-range drivers, the actual ear gain mids and high mids, and then do something to the crossover. Maybe add another resistor on it. That might be work to decrease the gain on it. Not sure. I have to figure that out, but quite interesting. So thank you, Gal, for sending me these. I think it's not a bad tuning. It's not the best tuning, but I explained what I don't like, which is the ear gain being too high at about 9 decibels. Scoot that to about 2.5 to 3K, and we're talking something quite special. And then I was thinking, I don't know of other IEMs that necessarily they're a tubeless setup that have an acoustic chamber in there. I know the Subtonic Storm does that. I think that's one of their trademark things, which is sort of why you get that squiggly graph. So maybe they were going for something like that. And theoretically, that would give you the highest resolution out of these drivers without anything in the sound path. So that's cool. I mean, in theory. But we still need to fix a little bit of the tuning. Right on, and I will talk to you on the next one.